This is a massive shame because these apples on this tree are actually delicious. They're so nice. But this is obviously why the wasps are also going for them. This is so annoying because almost every apple is being eaten. My instinct tells me that they're only getting them because they've got blemishes that I haven't removed. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they'll just eat any apples. I don't know. Oh, this is so sad. So many of these are just rotting. This one is rotting. This one is rotting. Oh, I can't believe it. Wait a second. What the heck? This is not an apple. No way. This thing here is growing some kind of plum or damson. This is not an apple tree, but it's connected down here. I can see that there's the apple tree trunk, and then there's this thing growing up here, which is the other tree, and it's probably taking a lot of resources from the apple tree. My friend who visited recently and knows about botany told me that one part is called the rootstock, which is like a vigorous growing tree, and then the other bit grafted on, which means it's attached when they're young trees, is the fruit that you want. But as they get really old, and this one is really old, the original rootstock can just decide to grow into its own tree. And that's, I think, what's happening here. So my friend Scott went around the orchard while he was visiting, and he picked out some of the bits that he thinks are doing that. They're called suckers, I think. And we're going to prune them in the autumn. You can't prune them in the summer, it's bad for the tree. We put some red string on the bits we want to cut. Well, this was kind of depressing because so many of these delicious apples are rotten, but I think that some of them I can maybe cut bits off and they would still be okay. So, and hopefully next year the tree will be doing better. Even though these apples do have some blemishes in them, I think these ones we can probably still use if we just cut those bits off. So this channel here is the part of the floor where I repaired, and it's set now. I'm pretty pleased with how it looks. It's not quite dry yet. There's still a bit of moisture in here, I think, that needs to evaporate out. And then when it does, hopefully it will be the same colour as the other cement. Last week my friend Scott came to visit me and he dropped off this, which he's going to lend to me. It's his old saw. He used to be a carpenter. So now I have this monster. I need to screw it to this table. While he was here, we made some tools for pointing and plastering, because he showed me as well how to point masonry, because I need to repair quite a few holes in the wall. But this will be really good because it means I can use some of the pieces of wood that I found, cut them to size, and it'll be so much quicker than my little jigsaw. So this was my first bit of pointing. It's not super neat, but it doesn't really matter. I'm going to paint the walls. It's more just to repair the structure of the brickwork. So first I need to remove any loose bits of old mortar in the gaps on the bit that I'm going to work on. So this is my cement mixing corner. I've got cement, hydrolime and sand, and I'm just mixing it in these buckets. I'm going to wear this. So this thing is called the hawk, where you put your mortar that you're working with. And then I'm going to use this trowel to force it into the gaps in the walls. So for a horizontal bit, I think I can just shove this stuff in to the gap, and then I have to cut it off. Oops, go on. So then for the vertical bit, that's when I have to make a sausage and apply it like that. Woo! All the credit on this definitely goes to my friend Scott, because I had no idea how to do this, and it would have taken me ages if I'd had to just work it out by myself. So I'm very grateful that he showed me. Although he probably thinks I'm doing a awful job. So the next thing is to use this tool to go along. I think it's verticals first and then horizontals, but you go along with this tool to kind of make the lines between the bricks. Oops. This wall is pretty uneven, so this is quite difficult to do nicely. So now I need to cut off, using this, any ugly messy bits. Oh, with the shoulder of the trowel, I think I'm supposed to use. There. So I finished my bit of pointing for today. The light grey is the bit I did before, and the dark grey is what I've done today. So I'm quite pleased with it. I think it looks good enough. So yeah, more tomorrow. These are Victoria plums. They probably have a better flavour than the other ones. They're not all perfectly ripe, but they're still pretty nice. The colours also look amazing. So first I'm selecting the best plums for bottling. I'm just going to cut them in half and can them to preserve them, and then any that are a little bit too ripe will be jam. I can use those as jam, and then any that are moulding already will just go in the compost. So the other day I tried to cut off all the rotten apples on this delicious apple tree to stop the bugs eating them all, but it didn't work because they've started eating the unblemished ones as well. So I read about this thing online where you can put some pieces of tights over each apple to try and stop the insects. So I'm going to have a go at this and see if it works. Otherwise I'm going to have no fruit from this tree, which isn't rotting. So I've just cut a piece of tights and I've knotted the bottom, and I'm going to try and put it on the apple and then knot. I'm not really sure how to stop them getting in at the top, but I just really want some of these, because these apples, they're already delicious, but they're not even ripe yet, because the wasps are just all over them. Okay, I don't know if that will work. It might stop the big insects. wheat into flour. It's not a very fine flour. It's got a lot of bits in it, but I think it'll be okay. It looks like this. So I'm going to try and make some bread with it, and we'll see what happens. This dough is very stiff. I'm not sure it's going to rise, but we'll see. So I finished my bread that I made with the wheat I winnowed. It's really small, it hasn't risen much. It's quite dense inside, but actually it looks okay, it looks quite nice. Some of the apples have got rot, brown rot, and I want to try and remove the bad apples before it spreads to any of the other fruit. So I'm just trying to cut off some of the ones that are bad. I don't really know enough about apple trees or apples to know why this is happening. I wonder if maybe we had some frost quite late and then that did some damage to the fruit, and then now rot is setting in, but there's quite a lot of them like this. I'm going to just try and remove them